Hello, Binyomin Friedman here. Think about this Kafkaesque scenario. You're laying in bed, there's a pounding on the door, you're woken up. They're screaming, open the door, it's the police. You go downstairs, you open the door. What do you want? They grab you, they haul you out, they throw you in the back of the police car. What are you doing? Why are you taking me? I've done nothing wrong, I've committed no crime. They don't say a word. They drive you to the police headquarters. They rustle you into police headquarters and they take you down to the basement and the basement below the basement and into a dungeon. They push you up against a blood-splattered wall. They pull their revolvers and they say to you, you are an enemy of society. You are going to be executed. No, executed? Why? I've done nothing. I'm a good guy. I never hurt anybody. I'm just a nice person. Okay, we'll give you 3 minutes. If you can justify your existence in the next 3 minutes, we'll let you go. If not, this is the end of you. Hold that thought, folks. We're going to come back to it. Let's talk about Rosh Hashanah. Maimonides, in his Laws of Repentance, Hilchos Teshuvah, 3rd chapter, first couple of laws, says the famous scenario that we are all used to, we've all become familiar in hearing, that there are 3 books open on Rosh Hashanah, and God judges every single person that walks before him. And if the person is majority good deeds, he is deemed to be a tzaddik, and is written down in the book of the tzaddikim, the righteous. If he is deemed to be a rasha because he has majority bad deeds, then he's written down in the book of rishoim, the wicked. And if he's 50-50, he's in the book of beinonim, the in-between people. And what happens to the tzaddikim? The tzaddikim are immediately inscribed for life. The rishoim, the wicked, immediately inscribed for death. And the beinonim, well, we put them on hold and we see how things go between now and Yom Kippur, and by Yom Kippur it'll have to be settled. This is what Maimonides says. Many have asked questions about this. Most notably, Rabbi Avraham ben David, the Ravad, and the Ravad says, I don't understand, what are you talking about? We see so many righteous people and they die. And we see many, many guilty people and they live on and on and on, year after year after year. So how does that work? Also, what does Maimonides mean? And actually, this is based on a passage in the Talmud. What does Maimonides mean when he says that the person with majority good deeds is deemed a tzaddik and is written in the book of the righteous, and conversely, the one with majority bad deeds is deemed a rasha, wicked man, written in the book of the wicked? Why do you have to be deemed one way or another? Why do you have to be titled? Just say the people with majority good deeds get life and the people with majority bad deeds are written for death. What's with the titles? There's a great rabbi named Rabbi Moshe Shapiro, and he explains Maimonides' passage as follows. And in Rabbi Moshe Shapiro fashion, he analyzes some very important words. What are the key words in Maimonides' law? Well, number one, the key words are tzaddik, righteous, and rasha, wicked, and life and death. So Rav Moshe Shapiro asks the question, what does it mean to be a tzaddik? And what does it mean to be a rasha? What does it mean to be righteous? What does it mean to be wicked? And actually, what does life mean and what does death mean? Now, although you and I might be wondering exactly what defines a tzaddik and what defines a rasha, but we all think we pretty much know what is life and what is death. Nonetheless, Rabbi Shapiro takes it on and he gives us a fascinating insight. He takes us back to a passage in the tractate Nida in the Talmud, which says that as a child is born, right before they're born, the angel grabs the child, the fetus, and he says, swear that you will be a tzaddik and not a rasha. Swear that you'll be righteous and not wicked. The child, compelled to do it, swears, and then he's born, mazel tov, wonderful. Very strange. What does that mean? And like all midrashim, we have to plumb the depths to find out what that means. So let's go all the way back to the beginning. Where's the beginning? Adam and Eve, Garden of Eden. In the Garden of Eden, God creates Adam and Eve when? On Rosh Hashanah. On Rosh Hashanah, Adam and Eve are created, and they are in the Garden of Eden, and they are given a task. They are given a mission. This is the mission that God has designed for them. And if they carry out this mission, they will bring perfection to the entire world. What is the mission? Well, in their case, don't eat from the tree, eat from the other trees, don't eat from this tree. But they're given that mission. And if they do it right, then they'll be a tzaddik. And if they don't, they'll be a rasha, wicked. Says Rabbi Shapiro, notice that if they did it right, they're a tzaddik. And if they do it wrong, they're a rasha, but they don't die. As a matter of fact, they failed, and yet they still lived. So this seems to indicate to us that there might be a different definition of living and dying. So he asks, what does the word tzaddik mean? Why do they make the fetus swear that it'll be a tzaddik? We were all at Mount Sinai. Did we not all swear that we would observe the Torah? If we're observing the Torah, aren't we all righteous tzaddikim? So he says, no. A tzaddik means something else. The word tzaddik comes from the word tzedek, which means justice. And the word justice is in the same family as to justify. Justice means that there is purpose and value to what you are doing. This is right for this person. If I justify my life, then my life is shown to have purpose and value. And that's what happens to each and every one of us. That, says Rabbi Shapiro, is what Maimonides is talking about. Every year, on Rosh Hashanah, each and every one of us is brought before God and is judged. And God says, not did he do good things and did he do bad things, because the truth is, every single day we're judged as to whether we did good and bad, and every day we're punished or rewarded and everything like that. It's not all about punishment, reward, and repentance and everything. On Rosh Hashanah, a question is asked. Is this person fulfilling God's mission for him? And if a person has fulfilled God's mission for him, this year, God has a new mission. And the question will be, can we expect that this person will fulfill God's mission for the coming year? And if so, God will give them life. And if not, God will give them the opposite, death. Now, every single person has a mission. You have your mission, I have my mission. And my mission last year might not be the same as my mission this coming year. So how does God judge? He takes a look at us and he says, well, on the whole, in the majority, has this person been a good person, majority good deeds, or majority bad deeds? If the person has spent most of their life this past year doing bad deeds, the majority of their actions were bad, well, we can't really assume that they have fulfilled God's will, and there would be no reason to assume they're going to do that going forward. If, however, they have majority good deeds, then we can presume that they're going to do good things. They did good things last year. On the whole, not that they were perfect, and they did some things wrong. Maybe even they did 49% of their things wrong, but 51% of things were good, which means that basically this person is rooted in the right place. And where's the right place? This person wants to fulfill their mission in life and do what God asks of them. Therefore, when Rosh Hashanah comes around, we need to start asking ourselves, am I fulfilling my mission? Now, many of us might ask that question and find out the answer is, I'm not so sure. I mean, if my mission is to enjoy myself and my mission is to be comfortable, my mission is to get what I want and have a good time, well, that's pretty self-centered. Is that doing God's mission? Am I improving the world? Am I helping anyone else out? Am I doing anything for anyone? If, on the other hand, I am a person that is a value-added person. I try to give value to the world. I try to give value in my workplace. I try to justify the money that I'm being paid to do my job. I try to be a good spouse. I try to be a good parent. I take the time to read my child a book. Maybe take my kid ice skating. All these are good things. It doesn't mean we're not talking about like doing mitzvos every day, putting on tefillin and kissing mezuzahs. We're talking about, are we living the type of lives that elevate us and those around us? It might also mean that I go to the Alps and I hike in the Alps to behold the wonders of God's creation. All these could be fulfilling my mission. And maybe we even take it a step farther. We see a need in the world. We see a poor person. We see an act of charity that we could do. We walk into the synagogue or into work one day and someone has a glum face and we say to them, well, what's going on? Tell me what's happening. Let me know. Share. Open up. You can talk to me. And just listen to someone and have them share what's going on with them. That is a value-added person. Are we that type of person? Do we do that with those around us? Do we do that with those that we love? Those that are so important to us? Do we ever stop and think, what should I be doing in the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or the next hour? What would be the most valuable thing that I could do? Now, if I'm on the clock and I'm working for the boss, the most valuable thing that I can do right now is do my job because he's paying me to do that. And if I don't do my job and I'm goofing off and I'm looking at the internet on my office computer, I'm really stealing from the boss. But maybe I'm going to diligently try to do that which is expected of me. So maybe sometimes I'm going to listen to the shofar or eat the matzah on Pesach. And sometimes I'm going to listen to my wife or my friend or my child and be a good listening ear. All those things are acts of adding value in the world, acts of promoting God's mission in the world. And certainly, if Rosh Hashanah comes around and I go to the synagogue and I open up the Siddur and I read how over and over and over again we proclaim God as the King, and I integrate that idea and I realize if God is the King, he created this world with a purpose. He wants this world to become a better place. What am I doing right now to make this world a better place? If I can answer that, then I can say to the firing squad, I can justify my life. I'm a valuable person. People love me and people need me because of the things that I do. When I go out into the world, I make the world a better place. You don't want to remove me because if you remove me, there's going to be people crying. There's going to be people who are needy. The world is going to be a worse place without me. As King David said, God, what are you going to gain from throwing me down into a bottomless pit and destroying me? Is anyone around going to extol you and express your praises? Is anyone in the pit going to do anything to make the world better? King David said, I make the world a better place. You want to keep me alive because I make the world a better place. That's the question that will be posed to us on Rosh Hashanah. That is the oath that the child makes, Tihi Tzadik, meaning go out into the world and justify your existence. God says, I'm giving you life right now. You have only one responsibility. Take it. I'll provide everything for you. I'll give you the air to breathe and the water to drink and the clothing to wear. I'm going to take care of you all the time, guaranteed positive. But you have to do one thing. You have to show that it's worth my while to be giving you all of these things. Justify your life. Now, of course, when he's a little baby, probably hard to justify his life, although I guess as a little baby he's making his parents happy. All he has to do is coo and the parents are just ecstatic. It's pretty easy to justify his life. And as he gets older and older, and certainly comes to maturity, then on a daily basis, even on the minute-by-minute basis, He needs to justify his life. Each and every one of us needs to justify our life. That's why God said, be a tzaddik. So when Maimonides said that God assesses how did you do last year, and he therefore writes the tzaddik into the book of life and the rasha, the wicked, into the book of death. So you'll say, what about the question that the Ravad asked? We see lots of tzaddikim and they don't live out the year. Wonderful, righteous, good people who passed away, and we shed copious tears over their loss, and we feel our lives diminished because they're gone. What's going on with that? How did they die? I thought it was written in the book of life. So, says Ramosha Shapiro, the book of life is the book of eternal life, which means that your life had value because your life was used to further God's plan. And therefore, he might leave life in this world, cease breathing, body being buried in the ground. But whatever life that he did have in this world was used to further God's plan, and therefore that person has life guaranteed forever and ever more. And that's why God will say, I see that person did well last year. I'm going to give him a new challenge this year and a new mission and see how he does with that. Now, of course, on the other hand, if the person's wicked, then they have death. Now, that means they could be alive, they could be breathing, consuming, enjoying the world, eating the food, and having a great time, and amassing great wealth, and being as alive as you can imagine, and tooling around in their brand new cars, and having excitement just swishing down the slopes, and being what we would call alive, but in truth, they are dead, because they are not doing anything to advance God's plan. And therefore, as long as that person lives thinking they're alive, they're really dead. And when they're actually dead and they take their last breath, there's nothing after that. It's all done. There is no life. It's death, eternal death. It's the end, gone, book closed, nothing, because they did nothing to further God's plan. So therefore, if we're standing in front of that firing squad, what would we say? Would we be able to justify ourselves? Now is the month of Elul. It's a good time to start to think about this. How would we justify ourselves? Let's take a look at what we do. And I'm sure many of us do many things that are really, really justifying God's mission for us. And I'm sure that we could also, without too much trouble, find some areas where there could be some improvement. I'll start with the relationships closest to us. Spouses, children, friends, employer, employees, neighbors. How are we doing? And then maybe take it a step further. As we see so many people do so many great things for the world, they go out and they make changes and make a difference in this world. Now, you could be a great person like that. You could decide, I'm going to start some great program that's going to turn the world upside down. Or you could just be working within what they call your Dalet Amos, your 4 cubits. It doesn't really matter. The question is, you ask yourself, minute by minute, am I added value? Maybe I'm added value because I'm washing the dishes. And maybe I'm added value because I'm changing a diaper. But that's added value. And that's what we want to be. That will justify our lives, and that is to be a tzaddik. And that's what we want to be. Now, a person who's the majority good deeds is a tzaddik. And we can all think about how we can add on to more of those good deeds and be a tzaddik, justify, tzaddik from tzedek, justice, justify our lives. Our lives are justified by using them to carry out God's will as he gave us the oath when we were born. If we do that, then this Rosh Hashanah is going to be very, very uplifting for us and will start us on a trajectory. And who knows what great mission God has in store for each and every one of us. Wishing you a kesiva v'chasima tova, to be inscribed and sealed for good things, meaning for a good mission for the coming year.